Hey guys, what's going on? How's everybody doing today? Oh man, I know I'm starting a little late today. Things are nuts, but what's great is I have an absolutely amazing guest. So it won't matter that I'm a little bit late cuz it's fucking worth it. Um my computer right beforehand decided to take a shit. Anyone who's seen me around lately has known I've been kind of out of it. So, yeah, man, so much goodness, so much fun happening right now. uh be good with me real quick here right now. I'm gonna get everything set up. I know I'm probably frozen. Don't worry, Chucky is still here. Da, da, da. Just trying to check out. Is this happening? No, can't do this here. Holy shit. All right. I'm just going to try to do this one last thing, and then we will get this bad boy going. If everyone's good, feel free to sound off there. Trish Bankston's already in the house. Han, what's going on? We got Mike here. Yeah, I know we're all ready for some Canadian bacon. You know what's going on. Yeah, man, super excited. We've got Frank Forte. I think a lot of you guys know who Frank is and what he's all about. Dude has done so much cool shit. So I'm really excited to kind of get into his head and learn more about that. Okay. Let's edit the audience and then we're good to go and I'll be able to see everybody that's speaking. All right. Now we got the public. So there we are. Cool. Josh in the house. You're writing your novel tonight through the interview. That's great. Aaron Poe's here. What's going on, Aaron? You want us to tell you? You want me to tell you guys a little bit? Oh, holy shit! Brian Manel's in the house. I'm feeling a lot better. Thank you. Felt like shit. Oh my gosh, I felt like shit. But yes, doing so much better. Try to you focus as much as you can, homie. I get it all. Dude. So glad to see all of you guys. Yeah, feeling better. I'm down. I'm ready. Frank Forte's in the house. He's done so much cool stuff from Lovecraft County to Bob's Burgers, which I'm a huge fan of, to all sorts of other amazing shit. I saw Despicable Me 2 was on there. Sam, what's going on, buddy? How you doing? So without further ado, let's just get this bad boy started and let's make it happen. All right. So let's do this amazing shit. And here we are. Canadian bacon is actually really good, and it's nothing like normal bacon, and it's better than ham, which you guys seem to call Canadian bacon. I'm very good at writing. I write very well. Yeah, it's Shop Talk. Do some of your audience members like the word fuck? Cool, then I'm going to keep saying fuck. Because I care. What is going on, Frank? How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Chuck. How are you, man? Thanks for having me. I got my cat right here in the background.
That's great. What's your cat's name?
That's Pooh Cat. Poubelle is, we named her Poubelle in French. That means garbage pail, which isn't very nice, but we found her in a garbage pail. It was a,
you found her
Pooh? Yeah, it was a stray. She was a stray. So we call her Poubelle, which sounds pretty, but if you know what it means garbage pail. So we call it Pooh.
I'm French Canadian, so as soon as I was like, does he know what that means? So that's great. I love that you know that. We got so many. See, Steph Wilson. Steph Wilson's cat gets in there all the fucking time, so he gets it.
Cats, man.
You guys know what's going on. Sorry, no Phil Russert tonight. We actually have a good guest. No, I'm kidding. Phil Russert's a great dude. I had to fuck around. Cool, guys. So, Frank, when I heard the vast, crazy amount of stuff, the one thing I didn't mention was heavy metal, which you and I talked about a bit beforehand.
Yeah,
because
heavy metal issue 300 came out a few months ago. I was very heavily involved editorially in that issue. This is the sketch cover, but yeah, I got a bunch of the stories in there, including this Liberator story, which was never published in English. But yeah, I've been working there as an editor since I think 2015, 2016, something like that.
Wow. That's comic book history. Like it's such a huge, important part of the history of comic books in so many ways.
Yeah, totally. Totally. Heavy Metal. I mean, it's been there since 77. But all those magazines like Epic or Metal Hurlant or Vampirella, Eerie, Creepy, Zona 84. I mean, there were in the 80s, there were so many heavy metal like magazines, like you could just find them all over the world, which is cool. But Heavy Metal seems like it's the only one that survived.
How much of that did a lot of that kind of form your youth and your work, so to speak?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, when I started out reading comics, I was, an X-Men guy, of course. Marvel, X-Men, Avengers. I read some DC stuff. It was kind of right before Vertigo came out. But, I liked the Micronauts, Michael Golden, the Frank Miller Daredevil, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then, you slowly start graduating out of tights and capes. And when I found Heavy Metal and all the Mobius and the European stuff, I was like, wow, what's this? This is like, there's nudity in comics, violence and blood and guts and just crazy subject matter and art styles that from Europe that you just didn't see in Marvel and DC. So I just loved Heavy Metal and, of course, Eerie and Creepy, too, because they had all these foreign guys from South America that, and Richard Corbin was in there. So all that stuff kind of blew me away when I found the Undergrounds, But, I always went back to Marvel and DC because, when the, I guess the UK wave came in and Grant Morrison and Alan Moore and all those guys came in, they were doing some really great stuff. So I always bounced back between the majors and the indies,
Yeah. No, that's so cool. Pops came in real quick. He said he's digging your book.
Oh, cool. Yeah, he got a free copy of Vampire versus #1. Cool, man.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, no, dude, a lot of people have been showing that one off today.
Cool.
So yeah, and you have a couple books in previews right now that you wanted to talk about real quick too, right?
Yeah, can I share screen? I'll share screen.
Of course you can. Quick, of course you can, bud.
Show you share. Let me call that up. Hold on a second. Let me make sure this is up here.
No problem. Yeah.
Previews.
We usually do that later, but I want to make sure.
Just do it real quick, and maybe we'll come back.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to do it. Yeah.
Share screen. And now.
Oh yeah, sorry,
okay,
Louis,
so here's.
You did miss the cake. Sorry, buddy.
Can you see that?
Let me. Yep. I'll add that to the stream. There we are.
So this is in April previews right now, pre-order catalog. Warlash Dark Noir 1, 2, and 3 are older books, but these are the signed editions. And if you're into, Judge Dredd and or RoboCop, you can check out this preview. Steve Mannion was in this book, but it's something I did years ago, and I'm just getting back to this character, but it's a sci-fi, rogue warrior of justice in a sort of a post-apocalyptic world. That's one. Issue 2 features Steve Mannion again and a bunch of other indie creators, but you can look through this. So Warlash is kind of it's just a kick-ass character.
That is cool, dude.
And then the new book, this is the new one. It's a Warlash Cold Metal Mayhem. So this features a story by Steve Mannion that was in Warlash Dark Noir, but it was colored. So this is some of the colored pages, never seen before. And Dwayne Harris wrote a story with me. I kind of plotted it, and we co-plotted it, and then he wrote the dialogue and did the art of this character featured called The Generator. And it's another short story featuring Warlash going to save this little girl, this young girl who's kind of has these powers. And then I'm going to do another story in the back, so it'll be 3 stories. But basically, yeah, those are the new items from Asylum Press that you could pre-order at your comic store right now. So those are it, and we'll come back to those later. I could show you a few more stuff, but yeah. Ooh, check it out. Whoa, look at that. What is that? We're going into the depths. I love that.
We've got an infinite loop happening here.
Infinite loop.
That's great.
Crazy.
Let's oh, I did solo layout. That sucks. All right, cool. Okay, cool. So now what I've noticed from you talked about it a couple times before, is you're going back and forth a lot between comics and movies and whatnot. Where did you start first in your art career?
I would do is definitely comics. When I got out of college, I wanted to do comics, and I think I have some here. The first book I did was in the '90s. It was From Beyond. I know I have those somewhere, but it was. I was friends with Al Columbi at the time, and we did this horror anthology in the '90s, and that was my first book. And it was during the black and white boom, when Cry for Dawn, Razor, Boneyard Press, and all those guys were doing stuff. And after Fearless Dawn, I worked for Boneyard. I worked for Cry for Dawn a little bit. And then I came out with my book, Vampire Verses. So this was kind of like what I was doing in the 90s, this black and white, bad girl, R-rated stuff. So this was my recent Kickstarter, and I'm trying to get back to this. But I did a lot of, black and white stuff in the 90s. Vampire Verses, here's number 4. And then, I through the 90s, I just found it really hard to make a living doing indie comics. Like I could never really break into the majors. It was always hard for me, maybe my style, or I wasn't persistent enough. But I was getting frustrated not being able to make a living. So I just kind of knew people that worked in animation and said, hey, if you're a comic book guy, you could make a living as a storyboard artist, because, you know how to draw, you know how to tell stories, and you can draw really loose, and that's all they need. So I'm like, I think I could do that. So I moved out to LA and just started showing my stuff around, and got a job at Revolution Studios, and kind of networked in the business doing storyboards and meeting people in animation and live action. So kind of going back and forth, because I knew I could do both. And I really I thought I wanted to do live action, but it proved it was harder to get into, and animation was easier. So I just started working in animation more, and doing a little flash animation, and doing character design. And then I kind of finally settled into storyboards. And then I started, the more people I met, I started trying to move further into doing live action stuff. So that's cool. Kind of, I'm still doing some animation, but I just worked on Lovecraft Country, and I've done a bunch of storyboards for Blumhouse movies like Insidious 4, Truth or Dare, Fantasy Island, and stuff like that. So it's cool to work in both. But I love comics, because with comics you can be more in control of what you're doing. And you can own the creations, and you can be your own storyteller. Whereas when you're working on a film, it's a bigger budget, and you're working on some prestigious titles, but you're kind of like one cog in a wheel. You're part of a team. But that's why I like comics, because you can do it all yourself, and you can be the auteur.
I know why you didn't make it in mainstream comics. I can tell you why if you want.
You can?
I can. I can tell you. It's because mainstream comics can't handle pretty boys like you and I. That's what it is.
Right?
They can't. That's why. Guys like you and I, we're never going to make it mainstream. We're too beautiful for that. They can't handle that.
We're too good looking.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's probably one of the reasons. But I think it was just I didn't have the mainstream style at the time, and I was doing a lot for the indies, and I probably could have done more, but I just like doing my own stuff, really. I just like writing and drawing and doing it my way. So it was always like, oh, do a test, here's a script, and I'd start these tests, and I'd be like, I don't know if I want to do this, and it was just like, I'd rather just tell my own stories, basically.
So when we're talking about like Vampire Verses, which you were just talking about a minute ago, how much of that is you? Like, are you writing? Are you doing all of that, or are you bringing on a writer and you're mostly just you're doing all the art?
For Vampire Verses, it was mostly me. I mean, I had a friend help me with some of the dialogue, and maybe we talk about plot, and I had an inker help me out here and there. But for the most part, it was all me.
That must be really. I mean, it must be very freeing to be able to kind of just do it all and work at your own pace. And because most of us, most of the time in comics, it is very collaborative.
Yeah, right.
So to be able to just own a piece and go, look, all of it, the beauty of it, the flaws of it, everything, it's me, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I like collaborating. I like working with artists and stuff, and talking stories with other writers sometimes. But yeah, there's something about doing it yourself, but it does take a while. Hold on, I gotta close my door. Hold on.
No, you're okay. Yeah, no, guys, this is see, like, look, please feel free to give us all your questions. I already see some coming up. I will definitely get to all of the
Sorry,
questions.
it is time consuming doing it yourself. So that is why I do like working with artists, because you can just write it down and it can speed along the process, and you can get more stories out. Because when I start to draw, I wouldn't say I'm fast, so it does, everything just kind of slows down, you know.
Right? Now, I have noticed, especially in indies, we get a lot of people who come in from the film world, and then they say, oh, well, I mean, comics are really just storyboards, but all put together into a book. I need someone like you to then tell these guys, well, that's bullshit, and tell us how you really feel. So,
Well, do you mean you have like movie people who want to just create IP to sell as a film, like that kind of thing, where they're just coming in to make a...
very often that is what's going to happen. Is they're going to come in, they're going to make an IP because for some reason they feel like it's easier to make a comic, and I'm like, no, not necessarily at all.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's less expensive where you could get the idea across, but then again, there's so many comic book IPs out there. When you look at previews or when you look at other publishers, there's probably just as many comics as there are scripts. So creating a comic, does it put you ahead of the game with a script? I mean, maybe if you have a fan base and you have you have something visual that you could pitch, maybe. But there's just as many comics as there are scripts. So when you get out there, when you get down to it, is it a good story? Is it something that somebody wants to put 5 million into making? Like, you get a special effects movie. A lot of those Blumhouse movies, you can make a film for 5 million, 7 million, maybe 10, but you could put together a 4-issue comic book series for like 20, 30,000. So it is a lot less, Let's talk about, paying people, printing, a little marketing, storage, shipping, about 20, 30,000 for a 4-issue series,
Sounds about right.
So you can do it cheaper, but look, hey, if people from Hollywood want to come in and pay you to make a comic, I mean,
that's true.
Sure, take their money and make it. No matter how comics are getting made, I think it's cool, whether it's from someone who's from Hollywood that is making screenplays, or it's just someone who's coming up. I mean, I don't think it really matters as long as you make a good story,
Yeah. So what is the difference? Like, how do you attack making a comic page differently, say, from doing a storyboard?
Yeah, like a storyboard, I would say, it's really the format. The storyboard is always, rectangular, like a film. So we're always just storyboarding in that format, and you're trying to get a good composition down, and you're trying to give the director and the crew something to look at when they get on set. So sometimes it's for a special effects bid. Someone's getting their head chopped off, or someone's getting stabbed, or something's blowing up. They need to show that to the visual effects and go, we need this. This is going to be, 30 seconds. How much does this cost? So a lot of times we're working with special effects for a bid, and just to, kind of stay within budget, where you can look at a bunch of storyboards and the producer could go, we don't have enough money for that. You got to cut that back, because just looking at the boards, I could tell it's too much. As for, comics, like, it's just a totally different, like, if you want to, I'll share screen again, and I'll show you some, let's see, can I go to my other screen? Oh, let me stop.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. All right. So, like, here we are in Photoshop, and this is basically a page to Billy Boy. Billy Boy is one of my comics that I did in the 90s, And, you know, basically, you know, I rough it out. Where's the red? Like, so this is kind of how it starts. You know, it's very rough. Right?
Yeah.
That's kind of what I start with. I even think there's a rougher sketch behind there too. But so that's the rough. And then you kind of go in there, and I would, you know, with a red, I always work in different colors. But, you know, I'll go in and kind of figure out where the head is. Some of these characters I know, it's drawn them so much, I know what they look like, you know. So you just kind of go in, you know, quickly and draw in the, and working in this cartoony style is a lot easier than drawing something realistic, which is what I like. You don't need as much detail, you
Yeah.
know. So like I could kind of, a lot of people you could kind of ink. You can see that, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can kind of ink, you know what the troll looks like. I don't need to have every line in there. I kind of know what these guys look like, you know. You just do the ears, big chin.
He's got that double ball, that ball chin.
You can add like lumps and stuff in there, you know. So then you kind of just give a pass like that, which is kind of like a pencil. Now sometimes I'm just working really rough. I don't need to ink. I'll just kind of do an ink pass. But if you want to do the third pass, you could get in there and, you know, kind of just do an ink pass, you know,
Mm-hmm.
where you're just kind of having a little fun, putting a little more detail in. I don't think Photoshop is the greatest. I'm used to it, but a lot of people like these other programs for inking. I wouldn't say the line is like the best, but I don't
I've been
know.
hearing like Clip Studio and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because you don't, it's like I want to get that, see how like wavy it is?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's going on with Photoshop. They need to make it so that, I don't know. But I use it, whatever. So then you could do like an ink pass, you know, but for the, and like here's another sketch, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then here's, I darken it in, and there's kind of their ink pass. There's that ink pass. See, I moved them around a little bit, right? I just moved them out of the way.
And this is just layers, removing them, adding them, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's all layers, and I like to sketch in different colors just so the characters can stand out, you know? And then that was like, that's kind of like a rough page. And then if I go to the ink, see, so this is, that's kind of the rough.
Mm-hmm.
And here's kind of the ink. And there's what that turned into in the final ink.
Wow, that's so cool. I love seeing all that come together. Oh, Frank, that's awesome.
So in two, and you can see the sketch here. So see, there's the, where is it? Rough sketch, tighter pencil, ink, color, color, get rid of the sketch. It was kind of like 3 passes, you know.
Yeah.
Here's the ink. There's the sketch. But you can see there was an even looser sketch there. That's what it started out as.
Mm-hmm.
Then I did that. And then the tighter ink over it. You know.
Oh, that's great, Frank. That's so cool.
Here's this one, and see here, this one is like there's a foreground element. See, this is on a separate layer, just because in case I want to move it around and stuff.
Is that something?
There's
Because
the
I don't
rough.
see.
There's
I
the
don't.
rough. See, 2 layers because I don't know. I like to keep it on layers.
Well, see, I don't see a lot of people necessarily doing that. Do you find that that's something you do because you've worked so much in animation, so you know that movement might be necessary? Is that
Yeah, I just like to be able to move stuff around.
yeah?
Because or sometimes I'll draw a body and I want to reuse the body in another panel to just to make it faster and just
Mhm.
change the arms. But yeah, it comes from animation, drawing a
That's
body and then moving the arms, moving the head. Sometimes I'll draw a head and I'll bring that head to another panel because it's already inked and colored. I'll just change the expression. It's just for speed,
that's
just to get
that's
stuff
smart.
done quicker.
Those fucking deadlines, right?
Yeah.
Wendy came in. She said, "What's your favorite storyboard job you've done, and which was the most rewarding personally?"
I think Bob's Burgers was really fun. It was really difficult. It was definitely a show that they wanted stuff very tightly done in a kind of a tight layout board. But it was cool to see that show get so popular because I never worked on a show that got so popular in like a few years' time where it was just massive. I always worked on
Yeah,
shows that nobody heard about. So that show was kind of cool that I do conventions, and at first people I'm like, yeah, I work on Bob's Burgers. They're like, never heard of it, and then little by little it was like, oh, you worked on Bob's Burgers? Like, I love that show. And then when I worked on the comic book, I'd have the comic book there that I could sign. Then I'd do Comic-Con. It was definitely really cool. But that was fun. I mean, working on the Guillermo del Toro show, Three Below, that was kind of cool. Lovecraft Country was cool because that got a lot of press, and that was a lot of fun because
yeah.
it was a lot of gore, a lot of monsters, a lot of creatures, so that was kind of fun. But yeah, animation's cool to work on cool bits of stuff that gets real popular.
You're getting some love here. Joe Tolliver came in. He said, "I love the look and the style. Very cool."
Oh, cool, man. Yeah, this is Billy Boy. Let's see, everything's on the layers here.
Well,
Hold on.
what is the pitch for Billy Boy?
So Billy Boy is just kind of he's a kid that has an overactive imagination and definitely has some, disturbing mental problems. So he gets caught in these. He's a kid he lives in kind of like a dark cartoony Adams Family world where trolls and paranormal creatures and monsters are real. And he lives with his Aunt Olga, and he just he wants to be a normal kid. He goes to school, he tries to fit in, but then he'll get pulled onto this adventure into this dark forest where these trolls are trying to eat him. So it's like a cartoony, like almost Betty Boop, Fleischer, Bugs Bunny meets like the Addams Family or something like that.
I think Dan's heard about it. He came on. He said, "Is that Billy Boy 123?"
Yeah. Yep.
Dan knows what's up. He knows your stuff, man.
Cool, man. So that's right there. That's the sketch for panel 4. Different colors for different characters, all on different layers.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the final.
That's cool. It feels like I don't know, like Calvin and Hobbes meets D&D meets the Munster, something like that. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Calvin and Hobbes meet Satan.
Right. I like it, dude. That looks like a lot of fun.
So here's I'll show you another panel.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's that panel. See, it's kind of loose. But I drew the characters on different layers just so I could kind of move them around, get the right distancing between them, and once that's right, you ink it up, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, the troll, they're all on different layers. The mom's on a layer, her color's on a layer. Just easier. I don't know. I like to be able to move stuff,
Yeah, absolutely.
And then backgrounds, like I'll copy a background and put it into another panel, just because once I color it, I'll just move it over. It's just for speed, really. But I do like. Don't get me wrong. I do see like that. The background's just separate. Don't get me wrong. I do like drawing on paper. I'm not drawing digitally because I hate paper. I love having an original comic page, and I have, a bunch here from the Vampire Verses. This is all done traditionally, but I think for speed, if you just want to get in there and resize stuff and be able to color it and letter it, I think it's just faster to do it that way,
Well, and it's also like, you were showing that first panel there. You can now take those characters, put them with any background. It becomes an advertisement. It becomes whatever you want it to.
Sure. You can use it for that too, a T-shirt or whatever,
Exactly. Yeah. So, even just for the ease of being able to use it for other mediums and whatnot, it becomes huge. So, yeah, of course, paper is great. It's nice to be able to utilize and whatnot. But at the end of the day, there is a serious advantage to being able to work digitally, and something that people should consider.
Yeah, it works for me for like what I'm doing, and then like, yeah, that's another thing is like the borders are separate. Here's like panel 2. Oh,
so on a page like this, approximately how many, you don't have to go and count, but how many layers would you say you've got here?
Every panel is probably usable layers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I would say 13 to 15 per panel.
So we say about 15 per panel, and you've got 5 panels there.
Uh-huh.
You've got well over 100 layers.
Yep.
That's sweet. That's
just kind of do
smart.
it per panel. Like I color each panel individually. Like it's not like all the grays are on one layer. It's all individual panels.
Yeah. That's cool.
It's just one way of doing it. I don't know. Some people like to, color everything, the same, and everything's on a layer. Like when colors usually don't like to get stuff like this because it screws them up. But for me, I don't know. It just kind of works.
Well, you're doing a black and white book, and it's your book, damn it. So you can do it how you want.
You do it my way, right?
Right? I hired you, motherfucker.
So that's kind of my process for any time I work digitally. It's usually like that. But if I scanned in an original page, and I colored it, all the inks would be on one layer, and I'd have a lot less layers. I just have I do all the grays, the characters, some of the special effects. So on a regular page, you'd have maybe on black and white, I could probably have like 5 or 6 layers. Color, I'd have more because I like to have layers. I like to work in layers.
So Davey Lee asked, would storyboarding have less to do with conveying a message panel by panel than a comic?
No, it depends. Like in storyboarding for animation, you're doing a lot more drawing, so you're doing a lot more posing. You're doing a lot more. You're acting it out. And in storyboarding for animation, you're more like an actor because you have to act out the character for the animators who are going to take it next. When you're storyboarding for live action, the actors are doing the acting, and you're just kind of conveying the composition, maybe the mood with some lighting. You're just trying to give something for the director to bring to set to discuss with everybody. Hey, this is the shot, this is the scene, and then the director and the actors kind of make it come to life. You're kind of more just you're just kind of helping them in the first stage of making that shot, you know. But I don't think it's much different. Like, you're still trying to get a good composition. You're trying to create mood or tension. You're trying to, you know, use thirds. You're trying to, you know, give someone something exciting or something dramatic. So you're doing it, but it's just that in comics, you know, you have just a myriad of shapes and sizes you can work with.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes storyboarding, you know, look, there's a lot of films. It's constricting, but still in that rectangle, there's a lot of cool stuff you can do in there.
Yeah.
I mean, look at all the films that are out there. There's depth of field, close up, you know, wide shot, close up, medium, dramatic shot, lighting, angle, high shot, low shot. I mean, there's so much you can do with it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's just kind of knowing, I guess I kind of worked in both fields. I kind of learned a little of each, you know?
I was talking with a buddy recently who had done, he was doing some storyboarding work, and he did a Zoom showing off the art for the TV show they were about to make. And he told me, he said, "You have no idea how many of those actors fucking came to me afterwards and was like, 'I love your art. So I want to pitch this thing.'" And he said he had so many graphic novels and scripts pitched to him. Have you ever had that problem yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of times people will want to, they see that you can visualize a story, and they want you to do that for them because they're like, you know, this is so cool that you took these words and you made it visual, like the first step. So yeah, I know it happens a lot. Like, if people know you do comics, like, oh, I have a script, I have a screenplay, or let's make this into a comic. And it's all doable. It's just that I don't necessarily have time to do like all those scripts. I'm busy doing my own stuff, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and it's really nice for you to be able to do that. You know what I mean? Like, how many people can say that they're able to, for the most part, do a lot of their own stuff? You know, obviously you have other work that you do and other things, but they're still able to pursue their own personal projects and do well, survive. You know,
Yeah,
so
no,
that's great.
yeah, it's not easy doing the comic thing, and I'm trying to get back into it. I realize how unknown I am in comics. Like, I just ran a Kickstarter. I think it only did like $2,000. You just realize if you're out of the scene, you're and you're not on the racks and you're not there on Wednesday, you know, people forget about you. Sure, I've worked on some high profile TV shows and films and stuff, but it's not the same as like the notoriety you get when you're a comic artist. You know what I mean? Like, there's a ton of people that do storyboards and character design that if they went to a comic convention, they'd kind of be unknown. Like, people would not know who you are. Sure, your name is on the credits, but in comic books, because you're, I don't know, there's just like a cool notoriety that comes with it when you're a comic book artist, or you're like, oh, you're the guy from Batman. Like, I read you every month. Like, I love, you know, what you do. You're so awesome. Like I think I'd be more nervous meeting, you know, I remember the first time I met Michael Golden, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be nervous meeting this guy. I fucking love Michael Golden. Like, he's so awesome. More nervous than meeting like a famous celebrity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like, I grew up reading Michael Golden. I love your work. And now I'm standing in front of you in person. But I've met him at a few cons, and he's really cool. And he goes, he loves my work. And I'm like, I don't know if you know what I do, man, but that's cool. Because he's great. But there's something about the comics that, I don't know, man. It's just like that printed page that is just very cool, you know?
Yeah. No, it is. And it's, I've told several people, I have a buddy of mine who's making his first book. He's on Kickstarter right now. And he said, I'm so excited to get that book. You know, he goes, you must be bored of it by now. And I said, you have no fucking idea. I said, it's so addictive. Because then like, you get that book and you're like, oh, this is amazing. And then it's like, I got to do this again. Like, I need another one. I need to keep going. Every time you get, you know, one of those books, especially when they're your books and there's something that you put your heart, you know, it's not like, it's not the same as, say, when you're doing paid work and you're doing somebody else's vision and whatnot. But when it's your vision, your book, every time is almost like the first time. It's so exciting.
Yeah, and you do
I totally
Kickstarters
figured
too,
out.
right? You run Kickstarters, right?
Yeah. I'm actually on Kickstarter an awful lot because I'm an editor. I think right now I've got at one point this month I had 4 Kickstarters that I was a part of.
Wow.
This month, yeah.
So what was your highest? What was the most you raised on Kickstarter?
So personally, our last book, Belial. Here's the main character there.
Nice.
Belial. This is his little chibi. Belial 2 brought in just under $6,000.
Wow.
And about
Great.
270 some odd backers.
That's awesome.
So, thanks,
now,
man.
where do you think those came from? From your mailing list, from social, or where?
A lot of that was from social. We
Really?
did we did a massive plunge through all podcasts, being on all the shows, getting out there. A lot of it is also, I work on an awful lot of books. I show off an awful lot of books. I think there's very much a comic culture that comes in, that's sort of cultivated and whatnot in Kickstarter.
There is. And it's amazing how they really support each other and support indie books, which is why I'm trying to get more back into it, because I think it's hard to make money selling comics to comic stores with Diamond, but then you see someone like Polito doing like over $250,000. You're like, that's amazing that these people come out and really support in the Kickstarter community. If you have Kickstarter and Diamond, you could really survive. But I think for me, when I got back with, the Vampire Versus book, I thought because this is a bad girl book, sexy covers, black and white, violent, R-rated, it would do well. And I promoted the hell out of it, man, on social every day, my mailing list, and hitting people up and doing podcasts. And 2,000 is good, but I thought it would do more. And it's a lot harder than you think.
So the questions I would ask you as someone who's done Kickstarter a lot is, how many backers did you have approximately?
In the end, was it, I could tell you right now. I'll find out. What's the next question?
The other question would be variant covers. How many variants did you have?
I had, each comic had 1 variant, and then the main book just had 2 covers each.
Were all the variants done by you?
That's a problem.
That's it right there. That's it right there. You got it. Yeah. So we had Belial 2 had 5 different covers.
Yeah.
So what I usually
61 backers I had. 61.
Okay. So we had the more people. It's tough when you're a one-man army like yourself.
Yeah.
For us, we have a team. So so the whole team kind of, on some level or another, I would say an awful lot, feel free out there, people, to correct me, but I don't know that you can. The artists don't tend to push the books as hard. Because
the artists you get doing the variant covers aren't pushing it that hard. Maybe they'll do a tweet or 2, but they're not pushing it like you would.
Yeah. No, there's some who I will give all the love. Like Steph Wilson, who came on earlier. That fucking dude. Yeah, he pushes it, and I would say a lot of times he gets work just because he pushes that stuff. His art is beautiful and all that kind of stuff. Right. But that is another selling point, is that because and even me as an editor, no one gives it. No one's fucking looking at the comic going, who's the editor? They don't give a shit. But people do look at books now and say, hey, Chuck edited this? Oh, that's cool. And that's because as an editor, I push the book. So today, one of my guys, he was like, oh, my book's on Kickstarter, blah, blah, blah. So I messaged him and I said, and I shared it. And he was like, oh, thank you. And I said, tag me in your stuff, tag your team. And he was like, oh, I didn't want to be a nuisance. I was like, no, you paid me. You get to own my name as far as that book's concerned. Right, so tag me. You use my social media. It helps you. It helps me. It helps everybody. Go the fuck ahead. So for you, obviously, like you said, you are kind of a one-man army. But if you're able to get some variant guys, trade some guys out because they want variants for their books, right? So you can get in touch with them and say, hey man, trade your variant for a variant. I'll do one for you. You do
I'm
one
up
for
for
me.
that. I'd totally be up for that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
think
I would,
yeah,
I do shit like that.
yeah, Jason Lennox, who did Lords of Chaos, Lords of Cosmos. I think we're gonna do some covers and some other people now that are on Kickstarter. Now that I'm kind of been out there, there's some people that I'm gonna do some covers for. But I guess like if I have a book that has like 10 covers, aren't you? I don't know. I know comic stores hate too many variants. Aren't you putting out too many? Like oversaturating the market in a way by putting out like 10 different variants of an issue? Or do you just think collectors love that?
Well, here's the thing. I don't give a shit about variants. Like, I'm not the guy who's going to buy them.
Right.
But people are buying my variants.
Yeah.
And the thing is that Kickstarter is a different animal than Diamond. So the thing is that you're creating your own collectability. And so part of why people are picking this shit up on Kickstarter is because of its collectability, because of the cool shit that's going on. So the thing is that selling 100 books to 100 people is nice. But you know what's better? Selling 200 books to 100 people. Because each of them get, both the covers, or, or having multiple covers. And you know what? A lot of people do like those. And you'll have people who come in and go, there's people who come in and they're like, I want every single cover,
Right.
And so, yeah, it does. Now, obviously, you can get burnt out on way too many. That's why I like to stick to, like we had five covers. I felt like that was a nice, manageable number. My thought was if the main book goes for $5 and all my variants go for 10 each, then if I wanted all of the covers, it's costing me $45, which really isn't too bad. And because it's a bundle, you can certainly drop the price a little bit and give them a deal. But yeah, people do love it. And
I think I just have to build it up. Like Asylum Press, I did a Billy Boy book 3 years ago, and then I just did a Vampire Versus book, and I realized that maybe I could, like, I'm gearing up. I have another one for Warlash that's going to go because I'm going to fulfill Vampire Versus really quickly because it was just a sketchbook. But I was going to try to do 6 this year every other month.
Okay.
And see if I could just do simple books, fulfill them, also release them through Diamond, and then by the end of the year, see where my fan base is. Because I need to just slowly build it up, I guess,
Yeah. Dan Stockwell actually asked where he could purchase Vampire Versus.
So all the Vampire Versus book now, they're at asylumpress.com. If you go to asylumpress.com, there's a store, and you can buy all of the, let me see if I can share. Hold on a second.
And of course, Mike James came in and he said original art and variants are a huge part of Kickstarter.
Right.
Yeah, they're a huge part, and he's absolutely right there. A lot of collectors, it's a big deal for them. And I mean, original art goes for big bucks, so that can be a huge jump.
So here's let me go. Where the heck am I? Okay, if you want to share a screen, let me know when you're sharing. I can't see you anymore.
It's there.
Okay, so this is asylumpress.com. This is my small press publishing company. This is the Vampire Versus Bloodride Sketchbook. This is a link to the Indiegogo, which has ended. But if you go here, you can. That's the cover. And these are kind of some of the interiors, right? So it was just a sketchbook to try to get people interested in the characters. Mm-hmm. For people that aren't familiar with the series, and here's some, the sketchbook is just kind of get you reacquainted. And this is some of the images from the comic.
Were there any full stories in the sketchbook?
No, the sketchbook was just a sketchbook.
Okay.
Because that's what I could fulfill. So if you go to the store, right? We have a bunch of stuff here. We have, you know, Billy Boy. Actually, I just put these up. We're waiting. We're waiting.
I know, right? Come on, Paige. This is all about
Come
you
on,
right now.
Paige. Come on, Paige. Okay, so if you go here, like this is Billy Boy. If you're interested, this is. Wow, this is loading really slow, huh?
Right?
So Billy Boy was 1 and 2 came out years ago, and just recently I finished number 3. So you can, yeah, you can get 1, 2, and 3, either regular or signed for 10. Right?
Oh, cool. So the price doesn't change for signed?
I'm doing 10 for signed only. I wasn't changing it, but it's just a time thing now for me to sign the books, and I put a little certificate in there. I charge 5 for the regular and another 5 for signed. Is that enough? Like some people might think it's too much. I don't know. What do you guys charge for signed books?
I'll be honest. I'm newer to the scene, so I tend not to charge at all. But you know, I will say that having the certificate of authenticity,
Yeah,
that helps. So
some
that
people
actually,
ask for that for whatever reason. I mean, those could be bootlegs, but I put it in there. You know.
yeah. No, I think it does help. So I think with the certificate, yeah, man, there's no problem with doing that. And you know what? If they don't want it, you know, they can always just as easily find you at a convention and have you sign it there
Yeah,
for
no.
free.
If they find me at a
So
convention, I'll sign it for free. I don't charge there, but I think it's just a matter of the time, the bagging, the boarding. If I'm gonna do all that, I have to charge for it.
the
So this is
certificate, yeah.
Vampire Versus. This is the very first printing. This is going for 20. I don't have too many of these left, but this is CFD, the CFD issue that came out in '95. This is the third printing.
Nice.
This one you can still get. First printing limited edition variant. That comes with a certificate. Number 2, second printing. Number 3, first printing. Ooh. Number 3, first printing variant. And also there is number 4, first printing. And then the Vampire versus Bloodride Sketchbook that you could also get here.
Cool.
And we're going to print with that really soon.
Nice.
But as for other stuff, like, you know, we've got, if you just look at the titles, we have Zombie Terrors, which was a zombie horror anthology. Eek, which was by Jason Paulos. It was a vintage horror anthology. If you like, you know, eerie, creepy, House of Mystery.
Yeah.
This guy's from Australia. He's just super talented.
That's cool.
We published Steve Mannion's Fearless Dawn books, and we have a very limited supply of these left. But if you want to get some of those, we have every issue except out of a couple. But Satan's Circus of Hell, trade paperback. It's a big horror anthology by Robert Ryan from Girls and Corpses. And we got some back issues of Heavy Metal. I got some more. I'm going to be putting them up. We're always putting up new stuff. And From Beyond, which is my original book that I got started with. I have regular editions of those, signed editions.
So much great stuff in there, huh? So actually, this brings up Brian Manel, because you do seem to dabble in horror an awful lot, and there seems to be some comedy in there too. Brian Manel asked, is there a genre or genres you're interested in working in, either comics or storyboarding, that you haven't been able to tackle yet?
I mean, I like, I'd love to do an anime show. I haven't really storyboarded anime. I don't know necessarily if I would be the best storyboard artist for anime, but I'd like to direct a show. Like, we're pitching my Warlash comic now as an anime series, because I think that would really be the best way to do Warlash, because he's like, it's action, there's monsters, there's mutants, and I think that would be cool. So anime I haven't done yet. See, I've storyboarded horror. I haven't really done a big budget superhero movie.
Oh
I
yeah.
haven't storyboarded one of those yet, so I'd like to do that. That would be very cool. But I just watched Invincible. Did you see that? What did you think? Have you watched that yet?
I want to watch it. I read the comics way back when they first came out. Absolutely adored it. But yeah, I'm actually hoping.
Brutal, man. I don't know
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to go back and read the comic now because I didn't never read the comic, so like all that shit that happened was like a twist to me. So I was like, whoa. So now, of course, I'm intrigued. They put up 3 episodes. I'm like, how's this going to turn out? Like, you have to watch it. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah. I wanted to wait back and be able to do like a nice binge and just be able to watch as much of it as possible. Though I really like the idea that they dropped the 3 right away because
so when is the next batch going to come out? Did they say?
I don't know. I kind of I got to be honest. I kind of like what Disney Plus is doing, where they're dropping an episode every week of their shows. So at least if you want to binge, you're like, well, I'll wait a month or 2 and then binge the whole thing. Of course, you have to stay off Facebook and Twitter, but whatever. Or certainly you can just popcorn it once a week. Like that's something that I'm gonna do. My wife and I we were enjoying the Disney Plus right now. Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Oh right, yeah, I hear people
once
are liking
a week.
That. I don't have Disney. I don't have Disney Plus. Oh, what, they just release them once a week?
Yep.
I like that. I think that's kind of cool, actually. I don't particularly like the binging. I like to be able to watch an episode and anticipate the next one, talk about it. Just like with Breaking Bad, when that came out, you were like, Monday, you were like, can you believe what happened? Oh my God, I can't believe it. That was so awesome. That was so awesome. And you couldn't wait till the next episode. Same with Walking Dead. But when they drop like I think, what is it? When Troll Hunters came out, they dropped 52 episodes on Netflix all at once. And it was like, everyone's binging it, and then you were done. And then what sucked for DreamWorks is that they couldn't sell merchandising because you didn't have this 13 or 24 weeks where people were watching the show and were into it. They binged it in a week, and then they were done with it. They were on to something else.
Yeah, no,
you're whether or not you like
right.
merchandising, I mean, if you're a creator, you want to sell toys of your stuff, you got to space that out on a TV show.
George Lucas made money off of his movies, but he made an awful lot more of the merchandise.
A ton on his toys. And they didn't even
William
Pace said
every Friday you'll get more Invincible.
Cool. Asylumpress.com is where you could buy any of my books and my art prints, and we're always putting up new stuff there all the time. My animation channel on YouTube is Goon Cartoons. Let me show you guys that because this is something I'm trying to get people to watch, and this is another thing that's very hard, trying to get viewers on YouTube, right? So this is Goon Cartoons. This is my channel, and what we do is we do a lot of original stuff like anime.
How long are your cartoons?
We won't. We'll just. Some of them are a minute. Some of them are 30 seconds. Some of them are. It's like stupid. Some of it's pretty stupid, but I like to create. I like to create in all sorts of genres. So like this is original stuff. I do time-lapse drawings. Some of the Asylum Press trailers are on here. I also put vintage cartoons, and then each one of these is a series. Like The Devil, that's an original one. Cosmic Candy's Total EDM Vlog. Buck Billy is another little cartoon where he's a redneck vlogger who's vlogging about stuff. Pissed Off Possum, Cuphead parody cartoons. We're doing Nyan Cat parodies, and there's a bunch of other stuff too. So Goon Cartoons is kind of like my original animation channel.
Kevin said to show the superhero spoof. He
Right,
said
right.
that's his favorite. And by the way, people, Kevin is he is from Ink Marketing. He's the guy who actually hooked us up. Really great dude. Definitely check out his stuff, especially if you guys want to kind of level up on Kickstarter. He can be a big help. Really solid dude.
Okay, ready?
Yep. Oh, I don't know if the volume's coming through.
No audio?
No.
No audio?
No.
Huh. How do we
That's
do that?
weird.
Am I
I guess it's just because it's the screen share. It only does. It might not do the audio. That's
interesting.
weird.
So anyway, you guys could look it up there.
Yeah,
it's a
yeah. Please do,
superhero
guys.
parody. You know,
It's Kevin's favorite, so you guys got to know it's good. That looks funny.
So it's just kind of a fun little thing that we put together.
Oh, good. And that's is that a team of guys?
Yeah, it's like a team, and it's done like kind of like a reality show. Like they're all doing their little spiel, like they're all kind of talking bad about each other, like Electro Guy, this character. It's kind of done reality show style. So that's kind of fun.
Oh, that's great, dude.
Yeah. So we're just trying to like get this stuff out there. But yeah, if you like it, go to Goon Cartoons, subscribe, and we put stuff out. We put new stuff out every day. We put
that's
new
amazing.
stuff almost every day, whether it's new content, vintage cartoons, stupid little 8-bit animations, parodies of, Cuphead, whatever. We just, I work with a bunch of animators and we just put up crazy stuff. So definitely keeps me busy, but it's hard. Like anything else, it's hard to build a following. Like I have 184,000 followers, but it's not like all those subscribers see everything. It's just like social. Not everybody's going to get your upload,
Yeah, absolutely.
Or the notification of the upload.
Yep. And monetizing that can be even more difficult. Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard. I mean, a little revenue comes in from the ads, but it's not a lot, You got to be up in the millions of views to be really making money at it.
It's allowing you to have a dinner out now and then.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Cool, man. Dude, thank you so much for coming out, Frank. Man. I really appreciate
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I'll have another Kickstarter for Warlash in a few weeks. Maybe I'll come on again and we'll promote that. Talk about
dude. I would love to. Yeah, man. I would love to definitely chat with you again sometime. And anytime you need to, you want to talk about Kickstarter with me, I'm totally down with that. You need any chat or anything about that? Absolutely, I'll do what I can.
Yeah, no problem. We'll talk more about it in private too.
Yeah, totally, man.
Well, cool. Well, thanks for everybody for coming out. I appreciate it. Again, Warlash, Cold Metal Mayhem is in Diamond now, #1. You have till April 14th to pre-order. And just check out Asylum Press, Frank Forte Comics on Instagram, Asylum Press on Instagram and Twitter, and I'm always posting stuff.
Yeah, and as always, guys, we have these guests out here. They come out, they teach us, they show us all sorts of really cool shit. So please, if you like what they do, if you're excited by what they do, go check it out. They're giving of us their time for free. So if you do enjoy what they've done and you appreciate what they've done for you, go check out their stuff. Patronage is a big deal, so we really appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Frank, man. I really appreciate you guys.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me, man.
We got another great show next week. I will see you guys in a week from now. Peace, love, and comics. My name is Chuck, and I give a fuck. Take care of yourselves, guys.